For decades, Guy Penrod has been one of the most respected voices in gospel music. His deep, warm, and powerful singing touching millions of hearts around the world. From his early days to his years as the lead vocalist of the Gaither Vocal Band, Guy built not just a career, but a legacy. Fans admired him not only for his musical skills, but also for his calm, steady personality and the faith that shone through in everything he did. Whether singing in a large concert hall or a small church, he carried himself with humility and grace. His signature long hair, gentle smile, and peaceful presence became just as recognizable as his voice. To many people, Guy was not just a singer, he was an example of devotion, kindness, and living by one's values. Over the years, he became a symbol of strength for those going through challenges in life, and his songs reminded listeners of hope, love, and the power of faith. But in recent years, something began to change. The man who was always on stage and always present seemed to disappear from the spotlight. Concerts became fewer, public appearances stopped, and there was little news from him. Fans were left wondering where Guy Penrod had gone and what had happened to the voice they loved so much. At first, the changes were small and easy to miss. He started performing less often, and there were fewer updates on his social media pages. Months would pass without any new announcements about albums or tours. Interviews became rare, and even fans who followed him closely noticed the unusual quiet. As time went on, this silence became more noticeable. People who had grown used to seeing him regularly began to worry. Was he unwell? Had he quietly retired without telling anyone? Was there a personal issue keeping him away from the public eye? Without any official explanation, the uncertainty grew. And in today's age of instant news and online gossip, that uncertainty turned into speculation. Blog posts, YouTube videos, and social media comments started to appear, each one offering a different theory. Some claimed he had lost his voice, while others guessed he might be facing serious health problems. A few even suggested there might be trouble in his personal life. But no matter how wild or gentle the rumors were, there was one thing they all had in common. None of them were confirmed. The Penrod family chose to remain completely silent, leaving their fans with only questions. This silence was unusual for someone who had always been open about his faith and his life, and it made the mystery even deeper. After years of unanswered questions, Guy Penrod's wife, Angie Clark, decided it was time to speak. Angie has always been known for her grace, warmth, and strength, standing beside Guy through every stage of his career. She understood the love and concern fans felt for her husband, and she wanted to give them the truth in her own words. When she finally spoke, her message was clear. There was no scandal, no tragedy, and no secret crisis. Instead, the reason for Guy's absence was deeply personal and in many ways inspiring. Angie explained that after so many years of traveling, performing, and carrying the heavy responsibility of ministering through music, Guy had reached a point where he needed to pause. He wasn't tired of singing, and he hadn't lost his passion for music, but the constant demands of public life, the endless travel, and the expectation to always be on had left him exhausted. This wasn't an illness of the body or a crisis of faith. It was simply the human need to rest, reflect, and renew. She described how Guy began spending more time at home, focusing on prayer, meditation, and reconnecting with God in a deeper way. Angie wanted fans to understand that this was a deliberate choice made out of love for his family, his faith, and his own well-being. In today's world, stepping back from the spotlight can be difficult, especially for someone with a long and successful career. Many performers feel pressure to keep going, afraid that if they stop, they'll be forgotten. But for Guy Penrod, the decision was not about fear. It was about freedom. Angie shared how he chose peace over pressure, meaning over noise. After decades of giving his time and energy to audiences, Guy realized it was time to give that same energy to himself and his loved ones. This choice was not easy, especially knowing that fans might misunderstand his absence. Yet, Guy trusted that those who truly cared would understand in time. Angie described how the first months at home were filled with quiet moments, walking together on their farm, having long talks, praying, and simply enjoying the small blessings of life. Without the rush of travel, Guy was able to sleep better, eat well, and truly rest. He also began writing songs again, but not for a record label or a concert schedule, just for himself and for God. These songs were deeply personal, created in moments of stillness and inspiration. Through this slower, quieter life, Guy rediscovered joy in the simple things. He started mentoring younger gospel singers, guiding them not only in music, but also in living with faith and integrity. Life on the Penrod family's farm became a sanctuary. The land, the animals, and the peaceful surroundings gave them a sense of stability they had missed during the busy touring years. Angie explained that this time together brought them closer than ever. Without the constant distractions of public life, they were able to strengthen their marriage and enjoy the kind of everyday moments that many couples take for granted. Guy would spend mornings walking through the fields, afternoons reading or working on small projects, and evenings with Angie, sometimes just sitting together in quiet prayer. Although he was no longer performing as often, Guy never stopped inspiring others. His mentoring work with young artists became a new form of ministry, one that didn't require a microphone or stage. Angie said this work brought him great satisfaction as he could pass on his experience and values to the next generation of gospel musicians. This period of renewal was not about stepping away from music entirely. It was about finding a healthier, more meaningful way to stay connected to it. In her statement, Angie took time to address Guy's fans directly. She thanked them for their patience, their letters, and their prayers during the years of silence. She reminded them that public figures are also human beings with emotions, needs, and limits. Being in the spotlight does not mean sharing every part of one's life. Sometimes stepping back is necessary for growth and healing. Angie shared that Guy had read many of the messages sent to him and that he had been deeply touched by the kindness and concern people had shown. She reassured everyone that he is healthy, strong, and still singing, just at a pace that allows him to live with purpose. At 61, Guy is embracing a new chapter, one that focuses on faith, family, and meaningful work. Angie closed her message with a simple but powerful reminder: fame may fade, but faith remains. Those words captured the heart of their journey and offered comfort to those who had been worried. Guy Penrod's story is a reminder that success is not always measured by how often the world sees you. For many years, he sang on the biggest stages in gospel music, his silver hair and calm presence becoming a symbol of wisdom and peace. People respected him not just for his songs, but for the honesty and faith behind them. Now, without headlines or constant public attention, Guy is living a different kind of calling. He is still creating, still mentoring, and still serving others, but in a quieter way. Angie has stood by his side throughout this journey, proving that strength is not only shown in public moments, but also in private ones. Together, they have found beauty in a slower life, where the music is not always heard on stage but felt in the heart. Their story is one of faith, love, and the courage to choose what truly matters. For fans who have missed seeing Guy, Angie's message is a reminder that sometimes the greatest blessings come when we step back, listen, and live with intention. And though the lights may be dimmer now, the song of their life is as strong as ever. The decision to step back didn't come without deep reflection. For someone like Guy, whose entire life had been centered around music, ministry, and meeting the needs of others, slowing down was not a sign of giving up. It was an act of wisdom. He had poured out his heart on stage for decades, offering encouragement through lyrics that uplifted millions. But now, that same heart needed time to heal, to grow, and to beat in rhythm with a different kind of calling. This new chapter was not about turning away from his past, but about honoring it by living truthfully in the present. Fans who remember Guy's passionate stage presence and soul-stirring vocals might find it hard to imagine him outside of the spotlight. But those closest to him say he's never been more at peace. Instead of applause, he now finds fulfillment in meaningful conversations, quiet mornings, and moments of stillness that once felt impossible. The rush of the road has been replaced with walks through nature, time spent with his children and grandchildren, and simple meals shared with Angie in the stillness of their home. And though the stage is no longer his daily place of worship, Guy still sings. Sometimes it's while tending to his garden. Sometimes it's a soft hymn humming from the porch swing at dusk. Music hasn't left his life. It's just changed forms. It has become more personal, more sacred. There are no lights, no sound systems, just a voice that still carries warmth, conviction, and grace. He's also writing again, not for charts or airplay, but from a place of quiet reflection. These songs may never be recorded, but they carry within them the purity of unfiltered faith and lived experience. His impact now stretches in more intimate directions. Guy has quietly taken on the role of mentor, guiding not only up-and-coming gospel singers, but also young men and women seeking direction in life. He offers wisdom drawn not from textbooks, but from trials, triumphs, and decades of walking in faith. He's been meeting with small groups, sometimes on his porch, sometimes in local churches, or over the phone, just listening, praying, and gently sharing. These moments are not broadcast online, but their effects are deeply felt in the hearts of those he touches. Angie, too, has found her rhythm in this new season. Her days are filled with caring for their home, engaging in community work, and simply being present, something that often gets lost in a busy life. Together, she and Guy have become a source of quiet strength for many who face the same pressures of constant motion and noise in today's world. Their story encourages people to consider the value of slowing down, of prioritizing relationships over recognition, and peace over productivity. They have also been spending more time giving back in ways that aren't always visible. They've supported local charities, helped families in crisis, and even opened their home to friends going through difficult times. Without fanfare or attention, their acts of service continue, a reflection of the same message Guy has always carried in his music, that love, kindness, and faith are not just words, they are lived actions. For those who long for his return to the stage, Angie gently reminds them that Guy never truly left. His voice is still strong, his heart still committed to the message he's always carried. He may not be performing every weekend, but he's still singing for God, for himself, and for the moments that truly matter. In fact, there are quiet whispers of new music being created in his home studio, not with deadlines or pressure, but with passion and joy. And if those songs ever reach the public, they will carry with them the richness of a life lived deliberately. What many might see as a retreat is, in truth, a return to roots, to values, to the essence of who he's always been. Guy Penrod has always sung about faith, and now he's living it more fully than ever before. In a world that often shouts, his quiet life has become a testimony of the power of stillness. His fans, while missing the regular concerts and releases, are beginning to understand that this season of rest is as much a gift as any song he's sung. Because sometimes the loudest message doesn't come from a stage or a spotlight. Sometimes it comes from a quiet life lived well, a life that shows us all that purpose isn't about how much noise we make, but how deeply we touch the lives around us. Guy Penrod may no longer be in the constant gaze of the public eye, but his light still shines just as brightly, perhaps even brighter now, as it glows from within.